Hey everybody, today we're going to spend 12 minutes together thinking about alignment, how to ensure your organization or ministry is high impact and meets its goals. Have you ever felt like your organization was something like this? Lots of energy, lots of excitement, but not much lasting impact? Well, you may have an alignment issue. In Judges 17, it says that everyone was doing what was right in their own eyes. And as you know, that led to a lot of chaos. Henry Cloud said, in the end, you have what you create and what you allow. It's the leader's responsibility to help create alignment and not to allow things to continue in this state. As you know, there are three responsibilities of a leader: lead, develop, and care. But what happens when the lead responsibilities aren't tended to well is that the organization or the ministry can become like a country club. People are well developed and cared for. They're very happy, but there's very little lasting impact. It's almost like the headless horseman. There's not a clear sense of direction that takes place. Restoring the lead functions, and especially we'll talk about two today: set direction, and then the focus of this video, align. These two will help ensure impact. As a review, set direction is about three things. First, facing the brutal facts. Where are we at now as an organization or as a ministry? Second, discernment. Where does God want us to go from here? And third, strategy. How will we get there? How will we succeed? And so a good leader, when he or she sees the lack of alignment, they will come in and say, we need to set direction. And so it's very exciting because they talk about where are we at now, where do we want to go, and how are we going to get there? And everyone comes together and it crystallizes. And it's so exciting. But what happens when we set direction without committing to alignment after that? It's like for me, if I decide to go on a diet and I want to get my weight down to 80 kilograms, that's very exciting. But if I continue to sit on the couch and eat potato chips and watch Netflix all day, I'm never going to get to that goal. This is what alignment is about. And unfortunately, if we don't commit to alignment, after we set direction, we will immediately return back to the same low impact, misaligned activities. Now, sometimes we're able to gain some alignment, and it's almost like a flashlight. The light becomes organized, but even a flashlight the light becomes diffused again very easily. I love this image of a laser. In 1960, Ted Maiman invented the first laser. Now, a laser is not natural light. It's engineered light, and it's a study in intentionality. Laser light is different than normal light in a couple ways. The first one is the light waves are what they call coherent. They all have the same wavelength. Second is laser light is directional. Whereas a normal light produces a diffuse beam, a laser light creates a very tight beam that stays focused for vast distances. You can even point a powerful laser at the moon and it will reach the moon and bounce back. It's amazing. What if our organizations and ministries could become aligned in this manner? This would ensure incredible coordination and impact. Now, of course, because of the laser, all the lasers always have the same color, the same wavelength. Biblically speaking, I really want to have someone to engineer a rainbow laser, because the different parts of the body, the gifts, the personality, strengths, ethnicity, gender, all this diversity is so important. And yet alignment is about acting together with one another and the set direction. So we're going to talk about 5 points to laser alignment. The first one is what I just mentioned there. Acting together with one another and the set direction. It's not just acting together, it's also acting together in the direction that's been set. This requires a sober, humble courage to bring about. And a great example of this is Paul and Peter's conflict in Galatians chapter 2. Some scholars describe this as perhaps the most important encounter in the New Testament. And it happened when one leader challenged another leader to bring their thinking and actions into alignment with the truths that they had already been committed to. It must have required incredible courage for Paul to speak up and close this gap between Peter's thinking and actions and the gospel. And it must have required Peter incredible humility to acknowledge that gap and to eliminate it. And so let me just read this together with you. When Cephas came to Antioch, Cephas is Peter, of course, I opposed him to his face, Paul speaking, because he stood condemned. For before certain men came from James, he used to eat with Gentiles, but when they arrived, he began to draw back and separate himself from the Gentiles because he was afraid of those who belonged to the circumcision group. The other Jews joined him in this hypocrisy, so that even by their hypocrisy, even Barnabas was led astray. When I saw that they were not acting in line with the truth of the gospel, I said to Cephas in front of all of them, "You are a Jew, yet you live like a Gentile and not like a Jew. How is it then that you force Gentiles to follow Jewish customs?" This encounter was so important in the history of the New Testament church. Would the high ideals of the gospel, the universal claims of the gospel, really be presented to the people of the world in a pure form or not? Paul's integrity, humility, and courage to bring alignment here really advanced the gospel powerfully in his time. The next aspect to consider in alignment is it's not about excellence. It's about doing the right things poorly. Black describes it this way. Initially, you may be doing the right things and doing them well, but over time, for various reasons, the right things may become the wrong things, or you may lose your focus. And so it's interesting, you're doing the wrong things, but you're doing them very well. In our own work in Japan, we found that we've so focused on relationship building good relationships with people, that we lost some of our boldness and we stopped really engaging and asking people to make commitments. And we were so good at doing the right thing poorly that it was hard for us to stop doing that. And then as leaders began to come in and give us, help us to realign, the challenge was you cannot go from doing the wrong things well to doing the right things well. You must first start doing the right things poorly. So we had to learn how to begin asking people to make commitments to Christ, asking people to make decisions, but we weren't very good at it initially. So it really requires humility and courage to release your competency in order to return to doing the right things poorly. Then over time, you can increase your performance and begin to do the right things well again. Next point, laser alignment. Alignment is amoral. It lacks a moral sense in a way. It's unconcerned about the rightness or wrongness of something. It's concerned how well aligned we are with a set direction. Whether the set direction is good or bad is a different issue. So as a case study in this is the Tower of Babel. With one language, with one heart, with one set of actions and plans, they began to accomplish something that was incredible. And God looked down and said that this is not good. But the beautiful thing about what they did was their alignment. If we were so aligned in our actions, thinking, and so on, we would have much greater impact. Again, another example of this is Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker's laser swords. The light in both of their swords are perfectly aligned, but they can be used for good or for evil. Alignment is amoral, in a sense. And then number 5, it's about measuring what really matters. This illustration from the 4 disciplines of execution really helps us realize alignment will help us focus on what you measure is very important. So we have, if you want to raise a rock, you can focus on that goal. How high has the rock been raised? That's the lag measure because it lags behind something. What does it lag behind? It lags behind the lead measure of pushing the lever down. Alignment is about measuring what matters. That is focusing on the lead measure. If I would like to lose weight, I shouldn't continually focus on the lag measure of how much weight I've lost. Rather, I should focus on the lead measure. Am I really changing my diet? Am I really changing my exercise habits? These are influenceable, whereas my weight is not directly influenceable. Creating systems of accountability and management in measuring the lead measures over the lag measures will help you gain traction in alignment. Question for you. Is what you are currently doing really going to result in the fulfillment of our goal? We have to be honest and face this. I'd like to introduce a tool to you, the alignment audit tool. And it's just a simple tool that you can use for yourself or for those who look to you for leadership in identifying gaps in alignment. And so it goes something like this. Initially, you'll write down in the center of the target what a goal is, something that you want to accomplish. Then in the areas around that, you will write down what would alignment look like for this goal. And there's 4 areas. The first one is thinking. People's understanding, their perspectives, their attitudes. Next is actions. Getting the right things done in the right way at the right time builds momentum and gets results. People. Are people in the right roles, resources, materials, finances, and tools that are needed for success? What would it look like to be in alignment for each of these? You could take some time and bullet out points on each one of these. And now here comes the pain. Alignment has a lot of pain in it. Where are we misaligned? Stage 2 is thinking through those 4 again. Thinking, actions, people, and resources. Where are we not in alignment? You can do this for yourself or someone that you're leading or coaching. And as you do that, you can then begin to engage in what we'll call coaching for alignment. And that has 4 stages to that. First is foundation. Are the expectations, is the goal in the center really clear or not? Second, establish the gap. Where is there a gap between what alignment would look like and where we are misaligned now? And then it's about entering the danger and having sometimes what is a high friction conversation about exploring, where did this gap come from? What's the causes of it? And then working hard together to really eliminate that gap. Lastly, I just want to ask you a question. Do you have the humility and courage to explore and eliminate the gaps in your own work and the lives of those who look to you for leadership? Thanks so much for joining today, and I hope it was helpful to you. We'll see you next time.